The world is a very diverse place. Yet, instead of celebrating its diversity, we're growing intolerant of it. The USA is such a melting pot of different cultures, ethnicities, races, religions, ideas, and thoughts. But we often don't take the time or the responsibility to learn about each other. And, as a result, we are continuing to live in the fear of the unknown. Hi, my name is Singh. I'm 13 years old and live in Alpharetta, Georgia. Conflict in the world has always bothered me. Whether it's bullying in our schools, terrorists killing innocent civilians, or hate crimes committed against people that just look a certain way, or even the Iraq War, the Rwandan genocide, the Sikh genocide, or the ethnic cleansings of the Gypsies, Slavs, and Jews in World War II. This summer, I took a course on international relations. I believe that the source of conflict in the world is the fear of the unknown and people dwelling on each other's differences, whether it be between races, cultures, or religions. What do I do to change this? Where do I start? And I thought, what's a better place than my own neighborhood with my own neighbors? My goal is to bridge the gap of differences between my neighbors and I, and make a baby step to making this world a better place. My first step is to type up some flyers. They will contain information about me and Singh. Also, they will include some information on my interests. It also asks the recipient a few questions about themselves.
First of all, I was not a Southerner to begin with. I was born in Ohio and went to college there, met my husband there, and he thought it would be nice if we lived down here.
So I'm a Southerner and have lived in the South all my life. I think a father and a husband, a family guy for sure. That's how I see myself anyway. I get most of my pleasure from being actually close to home and with my kids and my wife.
Well, I'm from Colombia, South America. I was born in a city called Cali. I lived there until I was 21 years old, and then I came here to the U.S. and I have been here for how long? 16 years. And I came here to go to school.
My favorite activity is playing baseball.
I come from a large family. I'm the last of 8 children. And my husband and I moved here from Rochester, Minnesota to Atlanta, Georgia in 1974. And we have 3 daughters and 6 grandchildren. And they are the highlights of our lives.
I'm Gerald Tilchin, Elaine's husband, and I also was born in Minnesota. And my parents, my grandfather came to this country from Germany, and my grandmother arrived from Vienna, Austria.
My mother is Cuban and my father is from Colombia. So I am 100% Hispanic, even though I don't look it or don't speak Spanish. I am 100% Hispanic.
I was adopted as an infant, and so my family that I grew up with is my family that I've known my whole life, and I actually have a wonderful relationship with my sister and my parents, and just about 5 or 6 years ago I decided to try to meet my birth family, and so I called and got a birth certificate and found out the name and did a little bit of a search and got to go meet my birth family, which was really great.
Well, my name is Susan Bullmash. My maiden name was Parati, so probably a lot of you will figure out from that that I was or am of Italian heritage, Italian American. I came from a large family. There were 8 children in my family, and like most Italian families, we were Catholic.
I am generally considered to have my original roots in Eastern Europe. Some people think even parts of Russia. I am Jewish by birth at this point. I love Judaism. However, my focus now at this point in my life is to really look at truth, irrespective of ideology, irrespective of religion, irrespective of group, of race, of any definitions of these subcultures, if you will. So I'm focusing on God at this point in my life and what helps bring me closer to God.
I want to know how to pronounce your religion. After reading it, I was looking at the word and I couldn't figure out how to say it. How do you say the word?
It's Sikhism, and a follower of Sikhism is called a Sikh.
And it's something that is common in the United States or more common in India?
Well, Sikhism is the 5th largest religion in the world currently, and I guess most common in India because that's where it was founded, but Sikhism is spread out all over the world now. I mean, there's Sikhs in Japan, there's Sikhs in Britain, there's Sikhs in the U.S.
So I don't know much about what it means to be a Sikh. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that? Tell me what it means to you.
Sikhism was created over 500 years ago by Guru Nanak, our first spiritual teacher. India was burning under the invasion of the Persians and under its own caste system. He gave the message of humanity, equality, and love. He also established Langar, which today still feeds thousands of people worldwide. He traveled 25,000 miles in all 4 directions by foot, teaching millions of people about one humanity and one light. To me, being a Sikh means to follow our Guru's teachings and love and serve God's creation.
I have a question for you about your religion. I heard you say that one of the goals of your religion is to be godlike in his behavior, and my question is, who is God?
God is the creator of everyone, and we don't believe that God is up in heaven. God is within everyone, and everyone has the essence of God in their soul. Truth is high, but higher yet is truthful living, and that's a main quote of our Holy Scripture, and we believe that to actually apply the lessons you learn from your faith and religion in your daily life is more important than going to church or going to anywhere you worship and praying. It's more important to actually apply it to your daily life and help everyone else.
I think it would be nice if our God would tell us the significance of that bracelet.
The iron bracelet was to always remind you to do good deeds.
Why? Is there a particular reason that you will never cut your hair?
Our hair is a commitment and a bond to our Guru. God has an intent for every single thing He has created, every single creation. We believe that the hair He's given us is our natural form and was it has a reason.
It makes sense. It makes perfect sense, but I always thought there must be some significance, and as many years as I've known you, I've never thought to ask.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. I know what inspired me. What inspired you to say at 13 years of age, you know what, I'm tired of this, this has to change, and this is what I'm going to do about it? What was the pivotal event that inspired you?
Well, I'm not sure it's so of just one event. I mean,
So there were a number of things that
yeah.
you experienced. Did the fact that that we went to war in the Middle East, did
Yeah.
that impact you dramatically?
I mean, you know, just people dying. You can't just let it be and let it continue. And
Right.
maybe AIDS in Africa and all the deaths in Africa because of the civil wars. And I'm sure definitely when I went to Duke actually and took my course on international relations, it I guess opened my eyes a lot because I wasn't exactly sure why these conflicts started. You know, I thought maybe it was unreachable to the average person. But then I just realized that, you know, it's not so out there and obscure. It's something we each can contribute to.
Absolutely.
I wanted to know if there was something that has happened to you in the past that has brought you to this, that someone has judged you because of your background.
Yes, I have been discriminated and I have been called names, but I just reach out to the people who are, you know, ignorant about it, and I try to educate them and teach them about me and my background and my culture. And I think by doing this, that in the future they won't be so stereotypical or so ignorant.
So I, this last year, at the end of this last year, started working with the Chopra Center, obviously founded by Deepak Chopra. In going into his various websites and starting to study with his organization, I became aware of the fact that he is a founder of an organization called the Alliance for a New Humanity. And they want to change the world profoundly, in a very positive way, and very quickly on 4 main issues, and they are war, poverty, human rights, and environmental degradation. And when I got your mom's email saying that you were doing this film, I realized that without even being a member of the Alliance for New Humanity, you're doing the work. You're making a documentary that's focus is about people understanding their similarities and what we have in common instead of focusing on the differences. Just out of curiosity, as a young person, how much do you think this occupies the thoughts of kids your age, of people your age? I mean, do you think about this a lot? Are you worried about the future of the planet? I mean, where is all of that for you?
It's not going to go anywhere. I mean, the problem's still going to be here, and it's not going to just disappear magically. We're going to have to do something about it, so might as well start now. But I know most kids really don't worry about it. After sharing our backgrounds with each other, I was so surprised to find out that my neighbors and I had so much in common. Even though we practiced different religions and were rooted in different parts of the world, we were all concerned about war, hunger, poverty, and environmental degradation. I was filled with hope and inspiration to find out that so many people were in tune with the Sikh philosophy of Ek Noor, or one light, without even knowing it.
Too often we are walking around and we're caught up in this very fast-paced life, and we're walking around with blinders on, just taking care of the things that we think we need to do and going in the direction that we think we need to head. I think a lot of the conflict that people get involved in has to do with a misunderstanding or a miscommunication, because we don't take the time to really get to know each other and slow everything down enough that we can understand and comprehend that we don't appreciate each other near as much as we should.
I honestly believe that it starts in the home. I think that the way that you raise your children is what's going to go out into the world. And if you teach them to be confident and you teach them respect and you teach them morals, I think a lot of times parents don't have time to do these things, so they kind of just set things aside, you know. And I was brought up to where when I made a mistake, my mom was right there to tell me, you do not steal, and she didn't steal. She was a role model for me.
From my standpoint, before we got married, I spoke to the priest, and the question came about what happens with our children, what faith. And the priest said something to me which I think was the key. He said, don't worry about your differences, worry about what you have in common. We have little things that are different, but we agree on what's important. So.
Our government, the last few years, has tried to dictate to the rest of the world what their personal belief is. And I don't believe that you can tell other people what to believe personally as far as religion is concerned, or whether they should be their country should be a democracy.
Our country is a very good country, and we help people and we're giving people. But when we give aid to all these countries, we should not expect them to be a democracy. They still have their own culture and their own beliefs, and we should respect that.
And I do believe that if everybody were more tolerant in listening to other people's personal beliefs and having respect for their beliefs, that we would get along much better in this world.
I don't want any more fighting and killing. The type of time when there'll be a time when everybody will fight, because then that's never going to be right. That's not why we're here. We're here to make peace.
My first message to the world is to be more open, to spend some time every day thinking about how you can expand your mind, expand your heart, and just open yourself to opportunity.
I think we have to keep on, even though sometimes it feels like a losing proposition. I think we need to keep the heat on, because it's one thing to complain, but it doesn't do any good to complain if you don't back it up.
We all followed our own religion. That was, there wouldn't be any need for conflict. Wouldn't have to be any conflict then, because our religions are based on God, one God, who's love. God is love. It says that many times in our Bible, so that we know that that would certainly help us understand our neighbor better.
I would say this. I would say teach your children how to love. Teach your children how to be healthy. Teach your children the similarities of who we are. We're all people. On the inside, if you will, it's all the same. We choose to teach separation. It's not inherent. If you ever watch little kids in a playground, they don't say, I'm sorry, you're a Sikh, I don't play with Sikhs. You're a Catholic, I don't play with Catholics. Little kids don't know separation, nor should we as adults. It's learned. It needs to be unlearned.
We're only here for a short period of time, and if you really look at the big picture, it's not about money, it's not about what kind of car you drive, it's not about who your friends are. It's really you being a spiritual human being and giving back. Because when you're lying on your deathbed, you're not going to be too concerned with, oh, I didn't work extra hours to make more money. You're really going to have a flashback of your life and who you've changed, who you've helped grow. Those things are what we really need to focus on in life, not the materialistic. Those are just almost like obstacles, because people focus so much on it. They're not really paying attention to the big picture. And we're really all here to grow and inspire each other and do big things.
your life is a sacred journey. Being 38 years old and having survived cancer and working with kids, I'm very fulfilled with my life.
It's so apparent to see how we're all connected, because what is at one moment the breath inside my body, a few moments later can be the breath in someone else's body. I exhale, my exhalation goes into the atmosphere. If it's taken up by that plant right there across the room from me, that plant uses my carbon dioxide and then it gives off oxygen, and that oxygen goes into your body. And it's just such a beautiful way of explaining how we're all connected, not just as human beings, but with our entire ecosystem. Absolutely, the more people can be educated or taught to think this way, the better the chance we all have for not only human beings surviving, but for everything surviving. And not just surviving, but flourishing. And I believe it's absolutely possible. I absolutely believe it is, and I would encourage everyone who sees this film to take that message to heart and share it. If that's what you truly believe, start speaking it, start sharing it, start using what you know as a method for educating the next person and the next and the next and so on.
I once read in a book that, and it has stuck with me for all these years, said that the hottest corners of hell are reserved for those during a moment of crisis maintain their neutrality. And what I have gotten from that is that when you sit back and do nothing, you're just as bad as when you're teasing or making fun of people. That in order to be a good person, you need to stand up for what you believe in and stand up for other people, because maybe they don't have the courage to do it themselves.
Agree that there are problems over resources, religions, and the environment.
So let's get past our arguments and work toward a solution.
And make the world a better place.
We are the world.
Bring you this work to share my baby step with you. I believe that if we all take one step in this direction, then together it will form one leap, one giant leap, to making the world a better